Hey everybody, welcome to the Conflicted Streamer Podcast. I am Chug Plays. We're going to talk streaming, games, and everything in between that no one else talks about. Today on the podcast, we have a good friend of mine, just started streaming again, about to have a baby here in a few months. Very, very glad he started streaming. Themajin227. She-Majin lurking in the background. So, you took off for 7-8 months. What was the transition back in like? And were you nervous? Did you feel like you'd never streamed before? I know you've told me before that you've got people in your chat that are always there. But how did you feel about new people coming into the channel?
Well, I felt very nervous about coming back to Twitch in general. And I think that the thing that had me the most nervous is that I put a lot of time and effort into my channel when I first started. And when I kind of took this long break, I kind of felt like I lost a lot of momentum. So I was a little worried about losing a lot of the people that I had earned. And I was very worried about starting back from square one because everybody who's ever sat down and actually done streaming knows how difficult it is to first get started, and we know how hard it is to actually have to entertain a channel with 0 viewers or 1 or 3 or even sometimes 5 non-vocal viewers. It's hard to sit there and basically communicate with yourself, and I was dreading the idea for months of having to come back to that and having to deal with that.
Yeah.
A huge part of the reason why I actually ended up stopping, I didn't intend to stop for 8 months, but a huge part of the reason why I stopped streaming was because I had initially had expectations for Twitch that I felt like it was going to be much easier, and I felt that it was going to be a much smoother thing. I didn't realize just how much of a learning curve and how much hard work was going to go into it. And I saw other people doing what I wanted to do only 10 times better. And it really hurt my self-confidence. And eventually I kind of just tapered off. And I had this real big stigma that really kind of just told me mentally that I wasn't good enough to do it, and it wasn't until I came back and decided that this was something that I just wanted to do. It wasn't about how successful I was. It wasn't about how many viewers I was going to be able to hold at the time, or even, kind of like whether or not people liked my channel. It was going to be fully about the fact that this was something that I was doing for myself. I was no longer just the person that I am in real life. I had made a new person. I was Themajin227, and people knew me as that. And when I came back to Twitch, I had guys like you. I had guys like Treading Lightly. I had guys like Nick Fights who were genuinely happy to see me again. And at a point in my life where I felt like I was getting a warmer welcome from you guys than I was getting from a lot of my family members at times. And that made me feel so good, and it really eased my transition back into Twitch. It was a beautiful thing, man, and I appreciate you guys for it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I brought you up on stream several times. She-Majin's popped in my stream several times. She popped in one time just to resub, and I didn't talk to her for like 2 months. She popped in, resubbed, and left. And I mean, I was like, okay, well, no, she did. She popped in another time, and I asked where you were, and I think she said you were sleeping or something like that.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, and I told her to tell you hi and all that stuff. Yeah, I remember when I started, I streamed to one person for almost 2 months, and I mean, I knew the person, so it wasn't that bad. And I didn't even, like I told you, I didn't feel nervous until I had people in chat. And I mean, I sound like I'm good at talking on stream, and I sound like I'm good at talking to you here now, and like we talked before the podcast. Like, but that, like, my stomach twists a little bit when I've got 5 or 6 people talking in chat. Like, I'm trying to keep up with everything because typically you've got like 3 people talking about what I'm talking about, and you got like 2 other people talking about what they're talking about, and I want to address them as well. It's a whole thing with me. It's weird, and like there was a point probably like 2 months in, I woke up and I was like, I don't know if I want to stream anymore. I'm getting, one person in chat. They're not always there. Then it's me by myself. And I wasn't looking at views, but I was just looking at chat. That's what I go by, is who's in chat, who's talking. And I almost gave up. And then, like I told you before the podcast, I got a 66-person raid. And then some of those people hung around. And this was right before I made affiliate. And before that, I mean, there were people there, a couple, like Vita would be there, Apple would be there, Cozy would pop in, just random people like Shibby Schwa, people like that. They would pop in, not entire stream. And I almost gave it up. And then Pizza Dog, Brahmin found my stream. Um, those guys, the people that are, like, when you come into my chat, the people that you see there, they stick around for the entire stream, 3 hours, 4 hours. And
Those guys, they're good guys.
yeah, and I was like, I didn't start streaming to make money. I started streaming to get sober. I like playing video games, so let me see if I can make friends, get myself out there. Maybe some people got something like that I went through, drinking all the time. And it's like, maybe I could help somebody. And I'm I'm glad that I pushed that out of my mind and was like, you know what? Don't quit streaming. If you do, you're gonna regret it. I'm glad I stuck with it. So, but I mean, I will say streaming is not for everybody.
I can agree to that wholeheartedly. You
Um,
know, go
Go ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
One thing that I do want to kind of say, and it's more kind of like a bit of a confession, is that I think I did partially get into it for the money at
Yeah,
first. And I
I
think
mean,
that definitely contributes to why I was so crushed. Because in my mind, I had always kind of been like a bit of a big fish in a small pond, like my entire life. I
yeah,
feel like I've always kind of shined where I didn't really kind of like always deserve to shine. Like people just kind of came in and they were a little impressed with my personality, or they were impressed with what I had to say. And I felt like, well, maybe if I just hop on Twitch, then I can bring that same, Majin factor that I have everywhere else in life, and when things didn't work the way that I wanted them to, or when I saw people doing what I wanted to do only in ways that I felt like I couldn't accomplish no matter, like, even on a good day,
yeah,
that really kind of made me feel like, like I was out of my depth.
yeah,
And like I said, somewhere in between, I kind of came to actually genuinely love streaming.
yeah,
And my stream, my creation as the Majin, my entire everything that I was doing, it became something that it was a living being, It was something that I breathed life into. So I think that, even if some people, the only reason why I bring this up is because I feel like a lot of people have a negative stigma towards streamers who are in it for the money.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being in it for the money,
No, I
but
mean,
I feel like it's not a great
I mean,
motivator.
I mean, we're people. We like money. We need money to buy things. So, and just so happened, some of these people that stream happen to be millionaires. So, but
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
like Andy Milonakis has a Twitch channel.
yeah, I mean the what's his name, Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. He streams, and it's like, I mean, he's already rich, but it's like, you know, the big streamers, Doctor Disrespect, Ninja, what's the other guy, Shroud, like
Shroud. big.
they started just as some person playing games. And just so happened I mean, I'm not knocking their gameplay. The only one I've really paid attention to is Dr. Disrespect, and I don't particularly watch his streams, but he's a good player, and he's hilarious. So, he streamed before he came into that Dr. Disrespect thing, and it was like, well, he found his gimmick, and he plays good PvP games. He's good at them. So, I mean, that doesn't happen just overnight. You know what I mean? So, when someone starts streaming and is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make a bunch of money. I'm gonna be partnered in 6 months," and it's like, good luck,
I mean,
because
honestly, expectations are even higher than that. You kind of think you're just going to have the world into your palm in like a week.
yeah, I mean, there's what 15, 20 million people on Twitch, and the hopes that they find your channel, and if you're doing something wrong that they don't like, or you say something that they don't like, gone. I mean, they're not gonna stay, and they're definitely not. And if they do stay, even like if they stay and watch your stream, if they don't follow you, they're not gonna tell people to go follow you, their friends or whoever it may be.
The way that I like to see Twitch, if you watch the NBA, then you know that they don't ever directly say it because it's kind of like considered national basketball rules. But there's kind of like a thing in street ball. It's called losers ball, winners ball. And it basically means that whoever scores a basket, if it's playing losers ball, then if one team scores the basket, then whoever didn't score the basket, they get to rebound and inbound the ball into the game. But
Yeah,
in most street courts, they play winners ball. They play that if you shoot the shot, you get the shot, then it's your turn. You get to basically keep your play going.
yeah,
You get the ball, you inbound the ball, you have another shot. And that's kind of the way that Twitch works too, where these guys who are already on top, the game is catered towards them. The
yep,
game is catered to make sure that they not only stay on top, but they continuously grow and basically become more and more successful. Nothing against them, but it makes it difficult for people who are really trying to get their footing.
yeah. It's like somebody who wants to become an actor, and you're trying to play catch up to people. Like, I don't really know who you watch, but some big name act.
Like a Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah, like Leo, or like a Chris Pratt, who not only I think is a good actor, he's a really great guy outside of acting as a person. You try to play catch up to people like that, and it's like that is going to be, you're gonna have to do something just great to be put up there in that spotlight with the DiCaprios and the Chris Pratts and the, who else? What's that other guy? Ryan Gosling. Like, you have to do something great to push yourself up there, and it takes time.
Well, I'm actually even glad that you said that because it really is kind of like about a mindset. You know, I spoke about treading lightly and Nick fights earlier, and let me say, coming back to Twitch, a huge part of like why I left in the first place, and this is nothing against these guys, but I saw guys like treading lightly, guys like Nick fights, who literally had the same ideas that I did, only they put them into practice way better, and I saw them as competition. And when I came back to Twitch, I saw them as inspiration. I
Yeah,
said, if these guys can do this and they're doing it in such a dynamic way, then maybe I need to learn from them rather than be intimidated by them. And
yeah,
let me tell you, man, I have allowed these guys to really, really become kind of like not only my inspiration but my drive, because I watch them and it's kind of like you know that song, you know, started with $1 and a dream, and that's it. Like, I see them and I know that, you know, the only real difference between me and these guys is that little bit of effort, man, and it's a beautiful thing, man. I love watching their streams. I don't pop into their streams because I want support. I pop into their streams because I genuinely enjoy what it is that they do, you know? And I
Yeah,
think that what you're talking about, guys like Leo and Chris Pratt, you have to look at what it is that they do and adopt those styles. Learn how to do it, man. You know how many kids are out on the court running, doing layups with their tongue hanging out because they envy Michael Jordan? Like, at the end of the day, you have to be that sort of person. And I really, really do think that learning to see people for what it is that they do and really kind of like respecting them for it is a huge part of being a professional. And it's a
yeah,
huge part of learning what you have to do.
yeah. There, you can even people that you dislike, or even people that you like that may do something that you don't like. It's you can learn something whether it's good or bad. You know, like I watch people like Dr. Disrespect. I don't watch his streams, but I mean I've watched highlights and stuff, and it's like, okay, this guy, he's not he, he's kind of reading chat, but he's kind of not, and he's always engaging, and it's like, okay, I can take that. I need to always be engaging. I need to, say something funny or something. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. He's an entertainer. He's an
But
entertainer. He might be an amazing game player, but he's an entertainer. And
yeah,
by entertaining, it's not always just about making people laugh. It's also about making people feel special.
yeah,
And it's
and then
also about making people want to show up. Go ahead.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, like I don't watch his streams, but his highlights are hilarious. I can totally understand why he was in the position that he was in because he's hilarious. He plays good.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
good at PvP games and he's hilarious.
Yep.
So like you take somebody like that, it's like, okay, engagement factor. I need to entertain these people, and then you can take something from other streams that I've saw in particular where people, they want to play favorites in chat, or they don't want to read what you say in chat. They just keep skipping over you and things like that. And it's not even a big chat. We'll say what, 6 to 8 people, and it's like they're not acknowledging you in the chat, and it's like, okay, don't fucking do that. Definitely don't do that.
I agree.
I mean, you can learn something whether it's good or bad. You learn what to do, what not to do, how to take what they're doing and make it your own thing, you know, and it's like you can learn a lot from people's streams that you like and people's streams that you don't like.
Well, I mean, to keep it, and this is probably not even the last basketball reference that I'm going to make, but to keep it, really kind of like still in that same vein, you have some streamers who are kind of like a Kobe Bryant or a Carmelo Anthony or an Allen Iverson, where
Yeah,
they're kind of like about themselves, and maybe they'll pass off to that one guy who they really feel like, okay, this is the one person that I can rely on. And then
yeah,
you have some streamers who are kind of more like a Steve Nash, where when Steve Nash gets the ball, he makes everybody around him good. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And that's why Steve Nash got MVP over and over and over again, because people love that guy and he makes his whole team good. That's one thing that I always really liked about Nick Fights, is that he'll even take a back foot. He'll even take like a downside. He'll let people make fun of him. He'll make people around him feel good. He lights up everybody. And that is a beautiful thing that doesn't always go, I guess, get recognized. But just to kind of do it for the sake of doing it really goes a long way. And some people, if you got that Kobe Bryant or that Allen Iverson style, I know a lot of really big streamers who do that, and they're even like directly rude to people in their chat, but they get away with it. If it
yeah,
works for you, go ahead. But when people don't have nice things to say about you, you know why,
yeah, yeah. Um, that basketball reference. Well, I wanted to say something about Nick Fights, about what you said about people making fun of him. If you cannot take a joke, if you cannot handle criticism, if you cannot handle trolling, you do not need to start streaming.
Oh yeah.
Because if you think people in real life are rough or mean or they make snide remarks or whatever, people online that you don't know from halfway across the world, and for some reason that person that lives in you know for me it would be like the UK or over in Europe where Apple lives, it's like they could say something when Bill down the street could say something to you and you just brush it off. But for some reason, that person over in the UK or in Europe says something, and then you in the stream and you're just like, "What the fuck did I do to make this person say this to me? I don't even know them." And it's like, I mean, there's people's chats that probably just get trolled and trolled and trolled, and it's like, you cannot take it seriously.
You
If it's a
can't.
problem, ban them. But back to what you said about Steve Nash. There's Kobe. There's ball hogs and there's playmakers. You've got to
Yeah.
figure out which one you want to be.
I'm glad
So,
that you put it that way because I don't even know the terminology.
um, I mean, I watch a little basketball.
Probably more than me.
um, it's. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a ball hog, but you can expect people to talk shit about you. Um, being a playmaker, um, shouting people out. I'm horrible at doing shout outs. Luckily, Brahman, my mod, um, he's on it. He's like he's on the Discord. He knows pretty much
He's good with it.
he pretty much knows who streams. He knows when to do shout outs and things like that. So now I don't have to do it myself anymore. Thankfully, I'd be playing I'd be sitting there like this, and then I see somebody pop and stream, and I'm like, pause, type in shout out, back to the game. You know what I mean? Not that it was a problem. It's just kind of frustrating to have to do that. It's like I feel like I'm holding other people up in chat to stop and do this. Which I would do it anyway. If even if I didn't have a mod to do it, I would still do it because I want
Yeah, but it's a bit of staleness to the show, though. You're right.
and I want people to feel respected as streamers when they come into my chat. It's like Armageddon. I found him when he had like 20 followers, and I was watching him because he was playing Witcher. And I stuck around. He was having a hard time with streaming, and I was like, if you ever need any help, holler at me. I'll help you out. I'll do what I can. And he just made affiliate, which is awesome. I'm glad he stuck with it. Now this is crunch time. This is fourth quarter, 2 minutes left on the clock, and it's like your affiliate. You can get subs, you can get bits, you can set up. I personally didn't set up my donation thing on my stream until after I was affiliate. I felt a
I
little,
still haven't done.
yeah, I felt a little selfish putting a donation thing up, and I'm not even affiliate. But he can set that up, and it's like, all right, now you've got your 50 followers, you've got your average viewers, you've got your hours that you need to put in. Now, where's your stream going to go? And it's up for you to decide of how you're going to do that. And, there's people that are affiliate that they stream maybe like once every 6 months or something like that. And that's just because they want to, not because they're not, like a Dr. Disrespect or anything like that. It's just because that's how they are. But there's people that make affiliate and then nothing's happening with their channel and then they just fall off. They just quit. And you're like, I wonder what happened to so and so.
Well, I want to take this second to kind of like address people who don't particularly stream. Like, if you are watching this right now and you're just kind of like a devoted Twitch viewer, and I'm not knocking people who, like we said at the beginning of this, streaming isn't for everybody, but a lot of people who are kind of like solo Twitch viewers, they don't understand what it's kind of like to understand. They feel like, I mean, to do this, they feel like, okay, everybody makes money off of Twitch. Let me explain something to you. Twitch takes almost half of the money that comes from subscriptions.
Yep.
Actually, a little more than half because there's tax on top of it. So they take so subs don't really kind of like bring in the kind of money that you want them to. There is a certain amount of bits. You know, when you buy bits, not all of that money goes straight back to viewers because there's a percentage that basically, you know, that you know, you pay extra. You know, so it doesn't. It's not all of those bits. You don't spend. If you spend $20 on bits per se, I'd say about maybe like $17 is going to the viewer if you donate $20. I mean, it doesn't work that way, but that's kind of like a good way to refer it because you have to
Yeah.
spend more on the bits. Anyway,
Yeah.
the point is, even like the ads that like, you know, Twitchers run, that's like 30 cents per ad. Like, you're not making
I don't even know if it's that much. I don't even know if
yeah,
it's that much per ad.
it's so minuscule, and a lot of viewers really kind of feel like, oh well, this dude is making money. Like you know how hard it is to make partner, or how hard it is to like actually, you know, be like a stay-at-home streamer. That's like a pipe dream, basically. A lot of people who you see stream, they have real jobs. They have lives outside of Twitch, and they literally do it as a hobby. They do it kind of like almost like for your entertainment. And I'm not saying have appreciation and, you know, be all nice to them just because they do these sorts of things. I just think that a lot of people's expectations are very skewed.
Yeah.
And
I would agree. I would agree. Go ahead, finish.
Well, you know, I just kind of say that to say that, like, you know, it's like the Sistine Chapel. You know, when you look at when you think about the fact that this was basically the Middle Ages, and it was the Italian Renaissance, I guess, but I don't know the time period. But the point of the matter is, they didn't have modern technology. You know how outrageously stressful and difficult it must have been to paint that fucking, you know, level of art on a fucking ceiling. like you know what I mean? Like people don't realize the amount of effort that goes into the art that people are producing.
Well,
And I just want to kind of highlight that a little bit.
well, the good thing now is, like, with streaming in particular, like, I have people ask me questions about OBS, about just Twitch stuff that they don't know, and or like making emotes themselves or things like that. And it's like, you know, I could be an asshole and be like, well, why don't you just Google it?
And some people are assholes like that.
And it's like, I mean, I think part of it is lack of knowledge of what to search for that they're trying to find. And I mean, Google's great. I use Google all the time. If it's something I don't know, bam, Google. Even like, you know, I work construction the good majority of my life, and there's things that I don't know that I'm glad that I have Google. I'm glad that I have this information right in front of me. And
I really Google too much.
And like Armageddon asked me the other night. He couldn't figure out some stuff with his emotes, and he sent me a picture of what was going on. I laid it out for him, and I was like, you know, this is what this means. This is what this means. So the next time you run into this, this is what you're going to see. He basically came to me as I'm Google, as if I'm Google, and I'm got the answers. Sometimes I don't have the answers, but I'll try my best to figure it out with you. So I think one of the big problems is, me and you talked about it, is people don't want to ask for help, and I don't think some people know how to ask for help.
I would agree completely. And another thing that I want to tack onto that too is that if somebody is trying to critique you, and I want to kind of stop and verify between the difference. Critiquing somebody is basically constructive criticism. Criticism outside of critiquing is basically just attacking somebody, attacking their art, attacking their character, you know, defamation, basically.
Saying shit just to say shit.
Exactly. If somebody is out there trying to help you or is trying to actually critique what it is that you're doing or trying to help your art or trying to help your channel, whatever, you should take all of it with a grain of salt.
Yep.
Sometimes it doesn't come from the best of places. Sometimes it'll come off as really, really kind of mean spirited. But at the end of the day, any criticism is good criticism, in my opinion, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean,
And
yeah. Go ahead. Continue.
so that's something, going back to, talking to new streamers in general, and even just like not new streamers, but people who want to grow their channel. One very important thing that I think I need to pass out. I'm sorry, I keep looking away, but there's actually a fire truck and an ambulance at the building across the street from me. I'm just kind of trying to make sure that
They
they're
heard. They heard
okay.
about this podcast. It's about to go off.
This hot fire, right?
They're gonna break that door. They're gonna break that door down. Just hose both of you all off.
But if if somebody is trying to help you, then the best thing that you can do is take yourself away from your art and learn how to actually critique it. One thing that a lot of people do in arguments is that they link themselves to the point that they're making. And at the end of the day, that's really kind of a wrong approach to things, because if you link yourself to the point that you're making, then the second that your point becomes wrong, you become objectively wrong.
Yep.
Versus if you're just a person who is saying what you're saying because it's what you believe at the time, and you are able to change what it is that you think, then you automatically become somebody who is changing and growing and therefore mature. And it becomes less of an argument and more of kind of like a conversation, And that's kind of what happens with a lot of people's channels, is that they get so attached to what they're doing and they take it so personally when other people kind of try to tell them, hey, maybe you should use OBS instead of Stream Elements, or hey, maybe you should probably run your PlayStation through your laptop instead of trying to get that crappy, capture card to work.
Speaking of, how's your capture card?
Don't even get me started on that fucking crap, man.
I agree with all of that. There comes a point, not just in streaming, but you know, in life, that you have to put your ego aside. You got to put that thing on the back burner, and you can't get ahead on ego. You might think that you can, but you can't. Everyone needs help.
And I
And
think
go
that
ahead.
honestly, that's not even about like just streaming. Like you
Oh
said,
no,
that's in life, period.
that's
And I
that's
think
that's real life.
I want to say about the point that you really, really need to learn how to do it. It's healthy to learn how to do it as early as possible, but I'd say about the age of like 27. If you can't put your ego aside by about the age of 27, then you might be headed for disaster,
Yep.
because life comes at you fast,
Yeah.
and I'm not even 30 yet, but I'm basically right there.
If you can't turn and ask somebody for help, and you're just struggling, suffering through it, and you're and you're not making any progress, you're not getting anywhere, and you have so much pride that you can't say, "Hey man, I'm struggling with this. Do you know anything about this? Can you help me? Do you know anybody that makes emotes? I don't know anything about this." And you if you don't learn how to do that type of stuff, then like, okay, here's a perfect example. I know commercial and residential plumbing pretty well. I've done it for 6-7 years now. When I started working with my buddy Logan, known him for 16 years. When I started working with him, I didn't know anything about plumbing. Not, I mean, I knew basic little household stuff, but I asked so many questions that we would leave for work at the end of the day, and before he'd drop me off at the house, he would say, "Do you have anything else that you want to fucking ask me?" And I was like, "Nah, I'll save it for tomorrow when we're out on the job." And then he would pull out of the driveway or whatever. I'd call him like 10 minutes later. "Hey man, I just wanted to ask you." He'd fucking hang up on me. So it's like, and I'm like 23. No, wait, 20. Yeah, 24, somewhere around there. And it's like,
Time.
I'm so curious about stuff. And I didn't know anything about plumbing. I didn't even know if I'd really like plumbing. I didn't know if that was something I even wanted to do. But I started asking questions. I had a really good foreman. Logan was my lead man. So I worked with him, and I love it. I don't. I mean, I know a lot of things about a lot of things, but plumbing, that's my main thing. And it's all because I stayed on his ass asking questions about what to do, what not to do. What do you think of this? Do you think we could do that this way? And it made me the plumber that I am today, confident in my ability to do something without messing it up and having to go ask people questions, and then have people come to me with questions. And then when they do, you're like, "Oh shit, you're coming to me for questions? All right, I got you. I can help you." And like that's a good feeling. Learning feels good. Like, as stupid as that sounds and cheesy as that sounds, learning things feels so good.
I don't think it sounds cheesy at all. I think that you have a lot of people who are like perpetual learners. And I've heard a lot of criticism towards that kind of like philosophy and lifestyle based off of the fact that if you spend your entire life learning and none of your life doing, then you don't get anywhere. And I understand that too.
Yeah,
But at the same time, there really is kind of like a need to always continue to grow and move. And so a real good example, we'll go back to basketball one more time, but there was a guy, I don't know, you've heard of Paul Pierce, right? Used to play for the Celtics. I don't know if he
I'm a
retired yet or
big
not.
Celtics fan. I actually should have wore my Celtics shirt because you're wearing a New York hat. I should have wore my Celtics shirt.
So then you know the story. Basically, Paul Pierce, he played in the NBA for a couple of years, and then he ended up taking like a huge injury to the head or something like that. I don't remember what happened, but he got injured and he needed like surgery or some shit like that. And when he came back, he was just all of a sudden this fucking outrageously fucking good player, this
Yeah,
playmaker, this fucking and you think about it, like somebody who was already good enough to make it to the NBA. He
yeah,
might not have been a Michael Jordan or a LeBron James or anything like that, but he was good enough to make it to be a professional basketball player.
yeah,
That's nothing to fucking scoff at.
yeah,
But he basically was forced into a point where he was probably thinking about retiring when he got that injury. He
yeah,
was probably thinking about hanging it up, and life forced him to reevaluate himself. So, kind of like the same thing that you were just talking about, where he was kind of like forcefully put in that position where he needed to stop and he needed to look at himself objectively as a person. And he was able to basically take that and turn around and basically put himself into a position where now all of a sudden this is kind of like, at one point he could have been called the best player in the league. Maybe not objectively the best points or the best stats or anything like that, but Paul Pierce was the fucking man,
Mm-hmm.
and
Paul Pierce is
and
great. I love Paul Pierce.
yeah, I take my inspiration from a lot of people like that, but in general, to be more direct about what it is that you were saying, because we're not here to talk about basketball, there is definitely a lot of times where people kind of need to learn how to accept the fact that even though you feel like you are a master of your art, the biggest part about being a master is learning how to continue. It's basically that self study. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
like if you think about like Ip Man. You know, Ip Man is considered one of the best martial artists in cinema. And Ip Man gets better with every fucking movie. What, you think he got somebody out there who's teaching him? No,
No.
he's self-study. He's continuing to improve. And that's the same thing. Even if you're the best fucking streamer ever, there are so many things out there that haven't been done yet. You know, technology when we were kids is advancing 10 times faster these days because
Yeah.
people are still making discoveries, you know? And that's what you need to do as a person is allow yourself to still make discoveries.
Yeah.
America Online 1.0 through 9.0 and still going on, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you know,
Fucking
we're uh we're past the dial-up stage. We're way past dial-up. So,
exactly.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, I thought about quitting. I'm glad that I kept doing it, and
I'm
I'm glad
glad you
it
kept it.
slowly picked up. So it's a weird thing, man. And you know, you get you get some people in chat sometimes, and that can be discouraging. You know, by what chat says. That, you know, if you don't care about the people in chat, then there's no point in you streaming. And sometimes you get people in chat, and you gotta you gotta time them out. You gotta ban them, and you know they keep saying shit, but you have to remember sometimes that's not the only one of that person. 15, 20 million people on Twitch. That's not the only one of whatever John 123. There's other John 123s out there. You just happen to get that one. And then you ban them, you move on, and then you know a month later you get another John 123 in there, and they just come in saying ridiculous chat can wear
It's
you
like
down. Chat can wear you
Yoshi and
down.
Mario.
Do what?
There's a million Yoshis out there. You don't get
Yeah,
attached to that one.
yeah, and um, I think trolling people who troll, um, I think that discourages a lot of new streamers if they haven't experienced one yet. You know, you can say, "Well, I've not had anybody troll my stream," and it's like, just give it time.
Yep.
Give it some time. That's,
Give it some time.
I
It'll
mean,
happen.
you might get one in January, and then you might not get another troll until April, and it's like, you know, once you start getting some legs under your stream, and you know you're picking up, you get 7, 8, 9 viewers, you got a few people talking in chat, and you know your chat could be going perfectly fine. One person could come in there, and you know I don't really get mad at a whole lot of stuff, but there are times where I have been pissed off that people have said stuff in chat, and I've banned one person because they're okay. Let me give you the background. They were trying to tell me how to play a game, and I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do on purpose because
Because fuck them.
yeah, because fuck them, really. But they just kept saying it over and over and over and over and over, not in a helpful way, but in a trying to get under my skin kind of way. And it didn't bother me because I just trolled them back. I just kept not doing what they were asking me to do. Then they called me a dumbass, and I fucking banned them. I was like, I can deal with you. I can deal with 98% of what you say. Do not call me a dumbass. Don't call me stupid. This is a game I've never played before. I play PS4 blind runs. There's very few games that I know on PlayStation 4 before I started playing. I don't, I wish I still had that because I would like to go back and rewatch it because I probably could have handled the situation a little bit better. because I was hateful to them back after he said that. I don't feel bad about it, but I was hateful. uh,
Probably
but
had it coming.
but that's not the last one though. That's not going to be the last dumbass. That's not going to be the last stupid or hey you're fucking dumb. That's not going to be the last one. As long as you continue to stream and your stream's getting legs underneath it, there's going to be people that come in there and say shit that you're not going to like, chat's not going to like, and that can make or break you as a streamer, especially a new streamer. Like who was the guy that you rated last night? Tian.
Yeah, Tion. It was. I think his name was Tion of Cabbages.
Yeah, Tian of Cabbages. Like I, I think he's fairly new. I didn't pay attention to how many followers he had. Um, but somebody like him or Armageddon who just made affiliate, or the new guy that came into my chat, Clearly Blind Games. I think he's just kind of starting out, and like that type of shit. Everybody's different. They handle every situation different, and just because I can shrug it off and be like, yeah, whatever, dude, fuck you, I don't give a shit, and then you're banned, and then I just go back to talking to chat. Not everybody can do that, and I don't know, man. Like, as you know, we grew up when the internet was really starting to jump off, and YouTube and comments, and it was like, oh shit, that's how people talk online. And then, you get online and you start having those people do what?
I think YouTube comment spaces are the most toxic I've ever
It's
seen.
so bad. And then, like, that's after the fact. That's not even you live sitting in front of a TV playing a game. You get people popping up in chat just saying the most outlandish shit that they could fucking say, and it's like some people can't handle that shit. And I mean, as bad as I hate to bring it up, like there's been a couple streamers, like I think over the past maybe like month and a half, that have killed themselves because of their chat.
I
Um,
actually literally didn't even know that. That's outrageous.
I can't remember the guy's name. He was a really popular, I think it was World of Warcraft streamer. Um, like he man, like it's actually kind of sad, and
That's sad.
like he was older too. I think he was my age, 31, 32, and like that's a very scary thought. But like I said, not and nobody feels the same. Like and
One thing that I really want to kind of like point out in general is that we're not condoning trolling here. It's more so kind of like, when you talk about trolls or when you talk about somebody who, does something negative, you're basically addressing the fact that this is something that's going to happen no matter what. So you basically just better learn how to deal with it. But at the same time, like in my heart of hearts, I really kind of feel like if we know that that's the real reason why this streamer killed himself, then maybe you can't particularly arrest this person or have them face legal action. But somebody should really go back and look at those fucking streams and see who was in those fucking chats and really kind of put them in front of kind of like, like if cancel culture is really a thing, these are the motherfuckers who should really be getting, blown up and
yeah,
really should be getting attacked.
um,
Because at the end of the day, there's so many things that are, kind of like, I guess, highlighted today. And that could definitely, like, there's room to talk about somebody who was so hateful to somebody online that, they turned around and they decided to kill themselves. Like, maybe, like I said, not put them in jail, but definitely defame them to the point where they definitely feel that same heat that they put on somebody else.
yeah. The guy's name was Wreckful. He was a World of Warcraft streamer. He was 31. Apparently he dealt with a bipolar and depression disorder. So, and man, there was somebody else too, and I can't remember who it was because no one really talked about it, and that and these were like popular streamers. There's one where like they pull up like the chat history and everything, and it's awful, really, is what it is. And
Yeah.
it's
And
like,
you also have to think about the fact that 31 is still pretty close to the prime of your life.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, even just if you just objectively look at like this person as a human being, like for them to kind of like end it all at like that point in their life, that's fucking tragic, dude.
yeah, and and people who can't, you know, talk shit in real life or take a joke or handle criticism, and then it's like you want to start streaming, and it's like, I don't. Can you handle real life though? Like, I can handle
You're
shit
not
talking.
always,
Do what?
you're not always thinking about that though, and
Yeah,
it's good to raise awareness to the fact, but at the end of the day, it is really, really kind of important to, kind of like really highlight the fact that there are really toxic, and that's kind of like honestly, I know I'm overusing that word, but there are a lot of people out there who really kind of like basically ruin the rest of the world for everybody else. Like even like the idea of like jaywalking, basically like the idea that there is now a portion of the street specifically designated for you to cross the street. That means that there was somebody out there without enough damn sense to not cross right in the middle of fucking traffic. Like
yep,
there are people out there who literally ruin it for everybody else just
yep,
based off of thoughtlessness or
yep,
based off of and the internet is basically right in the thick of all of that right now because it's
yep,
still kind of new,
yeah.
you know.
I mean, it's just like with Warzone. I love to play Warzone, but it's hard to play that game sometimes because all of the cheaters that are in it. You
Oh
got you
God.
got aimbots, wall hacks, and all that stuff. They're getting better at it. I will say that. Because you can watch the kill cam. You can pretty much, for the most part, tell who's cheating and who's not cheating. Sometimes one will slip through there, but I mean that's a whole nother story. That's for when I talk to Nick Fights. That's something me and him got to address because we have not put. It's out there, like it's public knowledge that we had a Warzone problem, but we've not openly talked about it with anyone really. But I mean, it's that those people that cheat in Warzone, that ruins it for everybody. I'm not that
It
good at
really does.
Warzone, so you throw me in a match and there's a cheater in there that's aimbotting and wall hacking. It's like, why am I even playing this? And I mean, it's like that with streaming too. I mean, you just got to work your way through it and weave your way around all the bullshit that's going on. And it's
I'm actually really glad that you brought that up. Now, I'm definitely not trying to blow the dude up because he's actually a friend of mine, and I, I don't dislike him, but I know somebody who started streaming back before I like right around the time I stopped streaming those 8 months ago. He stopped streaming, and now I get on his stream, and I see 100, 130 viewers at a time in his stream,
damn,
and I am under the fierce assumption that they're all bots because
could be.
I am usually the only person ever talking in his stream. So, in all actuality, he's kind of there too when it comes to streaming, where he's using kind of like, I guess the best way to put it is like, performance enhancing drugs almost.
Yeah,
But it's like you have these bots who come into your chat and they say, if you wanna be famous, or I forget what the fucking, what they say, but I guess he bought that, and I guess he really bought into it and all of that. And, it's really bad for the community as a whole. Even if you feel like you're getting ahead and you're making an extra buck, it's like at the end of the day, are you though?
yeah. I mean,
Really, honestly, it's just like sinking the ship that you're standing on.
I've come across streams like that where they're playing a game I liked. I popped in, and then I look at their profile and it's like 10,000 followers, and I'm like, how you don't you don't even have anyone in chat. And it's like,
That's
out
right.
of 10,000 followers, you should at least have, what, 200? Maybe 100 people in your chat? Maybe not all of them talking, but yeah, I was there. I spent maybe 45 minutes there just trying to figure out what was going on. No one ever showed up in chat. And I was like, okay, yeah, you bought those followers. Or you used one of those follow for follow things that people use. And it's like you're kind of hurting yourself. It's like we know where you got those followers from, so you're better off just starting from nothing. Just go in, no followers, no viewers.
They're probably trying to cheat the algorithm or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, and that's not
Like,
going to work.
the real reason why I know is because, like I said, this guy started streaming before I stopped streaming. So that was 8 months ago. So then I hopped into his chat 8 months later and I subscribed to him. And this guy, I get a first icon. So you're telling me that you got 100 viewers, thousands of followers, and I'm still one of the first people to subscribe to your channel?
Yeah, you should be streaming full time then if you have
Right?
that kind of that kind of revenue on your stream for viewers and followers. You would be streaming full time. So I don't know, man. It's streaming's a crazy thing. It's
Yeah.
and I mean, like I said from the very beginning, not everybody can do it. And I mean, there's multiple reasons as to why not everybody can do it. It's not just one specific thing. But I mean, you gotta really figure out what kind of headspace you're in before just plan everything out before you ever even start. Think about it. Take a week. If you think you want to stream on Monday, wait till the next Monday. If you still want to do it that Monday, fine. Do a stream on Tuesday. Like you gotta really think about it.
I think an important thing that a lot of people need to pick up on, not even pick up on, but I think a lot of people they have a very robotic or maybe a little too planned form of streaming. Like, and don't get me wrong, you're right. You should plan out, like, move to move into business. You should have a business plan. But I think a lot of people, they have kind of like this inorganic way of speaking on stream where it's like they only want to kind of like stay in a certain box. And
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, you should be professional, but you should also have a very organic way of having your conversations flow. If
yeah,
you see that you're playing one game, but your entire chat is talking about a different genre, you can still play the game that you want, but maybe kind of try to find a way to stop forcing the conversation in the direction that it's not going.
yeah,
And a lot of people, they have this general idea and plan for what it is that they're going to get on camera and do, and then it doesn't work out and they're like mad at the world. And in all actuality, you kind of only have yourself to blame.
yep,
you know Even when bands play concerts, I don't know if you heard this story, but Led Zeppelin had a show a few years back where these motherfuckers, they're like all senior citizens at this point,
yep,
and they're playing a fucking show, and the crowd wanted Stairway to Heaven, and they didn't want to fucking play it. And it got to the point where they fucking rioted. Like, the crowd rioted and wouldn't let them out of the fucking stadium until they played Stairway to fucking Heaven.
man.
And you gotta be like that as a streamer. If they want Stairway, then I'm not saying, cater to people who are whiny and bitching, but you can't force them to listen to your new shit if they only want the old stuff.
Yeah, that'd be like Ozzy not playing Crazy Train.
Exactly.
So it's you can still do that. You can still play Crazy Train, but Crazy Train gets old after a while. You
It
got
does. It
I
definitely
mean,
does.
you got to make some new shit. And if you can keep doing what you're wanting to do, then like I didn't want to play Sekiro. But people were on me about you should play Sekiro. I want to see you play Sekiro. Play Sekiro. Play Sekiro. Play Sekiro. And I mean, I had it for a little while before I even told anybody that I had it. And I mean, now that I'm playing it, I like it. But before that, I didn't want to play it. And you know, don't, like you said, don't give them everything. But you know, just keep doing what you're wanting to do. With if it's not going to make you happy, definitely don't do it. If you're not going to be happy with it, and just because chat wants you to do it, don't like chat Fortnite, play Fortnite, play Fortnite. No, I'm not doing it. You know
Well,
what I
I
mean?
agree with you. I'm just saying, don't try to force a circular peg into a square hole. That's
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
and like I'm trying to think something aside from Fortnite. Um, Brahman wants me to play Metal Gear Solid 5. I've heard so many bad things about Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm not particularly a Metal Gear fan. Um, but I told Brahman, I said, if you buy the game or don't donate the money, I'll buy the game. I'll play the game. I've done that before. I've done that with Bloodborne. I'm doing that with Final Fantasy X. And like I don't care to play it, but if it's not something I want to play, it's very hard for me to want to spend money on it. And whether it be an older game, a couple years old, 2018, 17, whatever, to Ghost of Tsushima, like if I don't want to play it, I'm not gonna play it.
And you shouldn't feel pressured into doing that.
I know, and that is where chat becomes a problem sometimes. Not for me in particular. Chat already knows. If you've been to my stream, I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do, so don't even try. Like,
Well,
get out.
it's almost kind of like a government. You know, at the end of the day, everybody in the government is an elected official, so therefore you kind of have to please the public to a certain extent. But
Yeah,
at the same time, you're almost kind of there to save the public from itself in a lot of
yeah,
situations. So you have to really kind of balance these things.
yeah.
Um,
It's it's like I had it and I forgot. It was right there in my head. I should have just cut you off like an asshole and said it.
you should have. I apologize.
Oh man, what was I about to say?
I got to use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, man.
Oh, I'll try to be quick.
I'm trying to think of what I was gonna say. I can't even remember. Bum bum bum. Dead air, dead air. Majin had to pee. I have to pee. All right. This podcast is brought to you by me in the house. Want to thank everyone that watches my stream, the people that watch Majin's stream, everyone that has found each other through my stream to one another's stream. Appreciate all you guys. It's great. I love it. As long as you're happy with what I'm doing, I'm only going to try to get better and try to keep being myself. That's all I can do for you guys. As long as you keep showing up, I'll keep putting out streams. I'm going to try to stream tomorrow, Thursday. Which actually, that's a lie. When this comes out, it'll be Thursday. Scratch all that. Pretend I didn't say that. Just as a precursor, we're not trying to shit on anybody that streams, so no one take it the wrong way.
Yeah, more of kind of like a constructive criticism sort of thing.
Yeah,
If that, it's more so just kind of like shit that's just been in the back of my head for a while.
It's just the things that nobody talk about or address. Okay, this is the problem. Twitch news is not good news. The last time I saw Twitch news, it's someone's banned or someone did this or Pokemon's got a new boyfriend. It's like, why? Where's all the most recent articles about trying to help streamers? Why doesn't Twitch put those kind of articles out? You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? That's actually another thing that I kind of wanted to address also. Not to take away from what it is that we were speaking about, but when I first got into Twitch, one thing that I did was first I looked at the creation camp. And it was actually the reason why I looked at the creation camp is because I had somebody who I knew in person who was a streamer who I basically kind of like I jumped in their stream and I was basically talking to them and they were trying to tell me inadvertently that I was making a lot of faux pas on stream. They were trying to tell me that I was basically doing things that I kind of shouldn't be doing as a content creator and basically just like, social responsibilities in general online, right?
Yeah.
So one big thing, and I'm not sure, this is more so kind of like this is kind of more so kind of like at the discretion of the person that you're dealing with. But a lot of new streamers, they don't realize that you can't really, I don't want to say you can't really, it's frowned upon if you jump in somebody else's stream and you say, okay, I'm getting ready to go stream, I'll see you later. You know what I mean? Because that
Yep.
is kind of like, it's kind of like a passive aggressive attempt to take away somebody else's crowd, you
Yeah.
know? And I guess I did that. Personally, I don't think that I did that in this person's stream, but they basically told me, go and look at the creation camp. And they were kind of basically telling me to make sure that I know whether or not I'm doing these faux pas. So what I basically kind of did after that, because I have a short attention span and the creation camp doesn't exactly have the best presentation, is that I looked up a lot of videos on YouTube, basically on Twitch etiquette and how to grow your stream and how to be a professional streamer online. And I learned a lot of things that, kind of like, okay, so another really big thing, it wasn't on Twitch, but it was on YouTube. I saw two YouTubers get into an argument basically over something that happened recently. So I'm trying to remember exactly the best way to explain it. So the one guy that I watched, the one that I found the argument over was basically a guy who is known for calling out other people on the internet for basically kind of being ingenuine or kind of like just basically defrauding people. And he called this other guy out because this other guy basically chose to not pay an artist who was, basically made the dude, he commissioned the artist to make something for him and he didn't like what he made, so the guy basically decided to not pay him, right?
Yeah.
So basically what ended up happening now is that's not important, but it's just I just want to give you context, right? So now the guy that I watched basically called out the other guy who didn't pay the artist because the artist contacted the guy that I watched. And basically what ended up happening now is that the guy that I watched didn't even contact the guy he was calling out. He basically just made a video and started attacking him. And like
Yeah.
we've mentioned already in this podcast, it's very important to remember that people put a lot of time, money, and energy into the content that they create. So if you're going to be defaming people or attacking them or anything, you have to remember that this is something that people actually care about. It's not just their ego when they get up and they combat you because you didn't say you said something they didn't want to hear or something like that.
Yeah.
And the point is that both of them ended up getting into it and they basically both ended up taking really bad battle scars because they got into this really petty debate that in all actuality it really didn't even have to happen in the first place.
Right.
And that's bad online etiquette.
Yeah.
That's probably the best example of bad online etiquette that I've ever seen. So going back to like even like the trolls that you get in your chat, these trolls, they'll come in and they'll incite you to say certain things, but if you make yourself look bad on camera, that's bad online etiquette because it's only going to hurt you. You're the one who put time into your channel. You're
Yeah.
the one who basically did all the legwork to build yourself up. And a lot of these people who do these sorts of things, they want to attack you. They might even be working for other people who have a stream and sent you to attack
there are people here. I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying. Yeah, I know Kanye West. Kanye West. I'm gonna get the Kanye joke. I don't even care. I like Kanye. Fuck you. Um, there are people, not everybody. I mean, it's just like with a lot of things, like everyday life. The protesting stuff, that's great. Rioting and looting, not so much. There are people online, not everyone, that are out just to cause problems online, whether it be on Twitch, whether it be on Warzone, whether you're playing Fortnite. Like, there are people out there who just want to make other people either feel bad or for whatever reason they literally it's like in The Dark Knight when Alfred's talking about the Joker.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong, I fucking love that movie. I've got a Heath Ledger Joker figure upstairs, but that is
I gotta tell you a story about that when we get off a stream. But go ahead.
that's exactly true. There are people online like the cheaters in Warzone. They're not cheating to just so they can win in the game. They're cheating
Very
because they
clearly,
know that it's making everyone else that plays Warzone the right way mad.
I mean,
So
very clearly, if they get too famous, they know that they're going to get exposed, so they're not doing it to be famous. They're doing
yeah,
it to piss you off.
yeah, and I mean it's the same thing in people's chat. It's you get like I said, John123 comes in, says some dumb shit. He's not the only one. I
Yeah.
mean, we know that for a fact. And it's like whenever me and Nick had that problem with the cheating thing, I guess people think I'm whining about it, and I'm not. I'm not whining about it. I'm just raising awareness to the fact that if you're cheating in a PvP game, you're obviously not good enough to play the game the right way. So I really don't give a fuck about you. Like
I
if
mean,
you're
I really personally, and again, we're kind of talking about logic to an illogical person, but
yeah
I never really kind of understood the idea of cheating in the first place because, I've only ever cheated in video games. Like I used to cheat in Twisted Metal so that I could see all the endings when I was like, like younger. I
yeah
just
yeah
wanted to see the
if
ending
it's
video
a
to everybody's character, or like you cheat in Grand Theft Auto because you want to learn more about the world or something like that. But I don't understand people who get on competitive games and cheat and consider themselves like good or something like that, or like they go and they pat themselves on the back because they did something unfair. Like, isn't the whole point behind a competition to pit yourself against the other person and actually show that you're more skilled and better?
you would think like if I have to cheat to beat you, then I didn't win, and like there's nothing you can say that will make me change my mind about it. Like that is one
Well, you don't
argument,
always know that the other person was cheating, though.
huh?
You don't always know that the other person
No,
was
no, you
cheating.
don't. But in the instance that I'm talking about with Nick Fights, we do know. Um,
Yeah, word.
but it's like not. I mean, not even that person. It's anyone. It's like if you have to cheat to win, even if you are good at the game and you turn your cheats off, it's like I still don't have any respect for you as a player. I have no respect for you whatsoever because
And shit like that is why disrespect can honestly kind of be a bit of a jerk sometimes and still have as much, real kind of like, kudos and calling as he does. It's because at the end of the day, no matter how you slice it, no matter how much you don't like the guy, he's fucking nasty at the
yeah,
game.
he's
And you can't knock that.
fucking. I wish I had half of the skill that he had at Warzone.
I wish I had the amount of skill he has in his fucking pinky, dude. Like, he's
He's
fucking
good.
outrageous.
What else? What else did he play? H1Z1 and I don't know what I just know he plays Warzone. That's what I've seen him play the most.
I think he used to play PUBG also.
Yeah, yeah, PUBG. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. He might have played H1Z1 as well. I don't know, but it's like that guy that recently got busted who started his stream but didn't cover up the fact that he had wall hack on. He started his stream You could see the square boxes around the enemies through the walls, and he forgot to cover up the fact that he was doing that, so it got captured live on stream, banned permanently.
Well, even like, because I know I said this, I don't think I said this, I know I said it off stream, but I actually got into streaming and Twitch with the intention of becoming like a professional speedrunner. And
Yeah.
like when you see people who fake speed runs, like with like, kind of like spliced videos and shit like that, people always catch it. Like I
Yeah.
mean, I shudder to think of, world records that people have made, that they haven't caught yet. But people catch a lot of this shit, and it's like, yo, that's like, in my opinion, I don't even want to really kind of like talk down on people because that's not what I'm here to do. But I just don't really understand why somebody would go out of their way to stack the deck in that way. You know what I mean? Like it's funny because we were talking about that streamer, that argument between the two guys on YouTube. The reason why I even started watching that guy on YouTube in the first place is because he was basically calling out the guy who had the Pac-Man world record for like, I think like 10 or 15 years straight. Don't quote me on it, but
Yeah.
basically evidence came out that the guy cheated to have that record in the first place, and it was pretty compelling evidence. So basically the guy ended up, he's losing basically all of his accolades, and it's really kind of pathetic because at this point this guy it doesn't matter if he loses his fame now. He's already reaped the benefits for like a good decade and a half to 2 decades. You know what I mean? And it's like, it really bothers me that there are people out there that do that sort of thing. I have another guy who sits in my chat and he's always telling me to use Save Wizard. Use Save Wizard. You know what Save Wizard is?
Nope.
It basically gives you, Save Wizard is basically, it gives you, it's kind of hard to, it's basically cheating though. It's basically like, imagine if you had a Pokemon game, you download a Save Wizard file, and then you've never played the game before, but when you load the game up, you have a save that has all of the best Pokemon in the game with the best stats.
Oh,
That's
shit.
basically what Save Wizard is. And he's telling me, use Save Wizard, use Save Wizard. And I'm like, I don't understand why I would want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I like what's the point in playing a video game, you know?
That's where it gets back to my statement of learning feels good.
Yes, it does. And that's the reason why when I picked up Sekiro again, and I won't get into it too much, but when I streamed 8 months ago, that was around the same time that Sekiro had first came out. And now me streaming, when I first played Sekiro, I couldn't fucking get into it, and I had a real hard time, and I honestly had nothing but negative things to say about the game. And then I picked the game back up, and I honestly, I'm a lot better at the game now, and I beat the game earlier this week. And just yesterday I beat the secret boss, who's considered one of the hardest bosses in the game. And I can say that that's not based off of a Final Fantasy or a Pokemon mentality where I just grinded enough stats up to be able to beat him. I literally can say that I, as a player, overcame that challenge.
Yeah.
I learned. I was able to do it. And that's why now, today, if you talk to me, I'll call Sekiro a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 10 game. Because
there's no perfect game. There's no perfect anything.
Fallout 4 comes really close, though.
Well, you can give it a 9.99, but I mean, I've got Fallout 4. I've streamed it, so which I plan on going back to it at some point. There's probably some stuff in there. I haven't done everything by any means, but there's some stuff I want to get to.
Into that game.
I put some hours into it. I put a pretty good chunk of time into it, but I like that game. Aside from the glitches, I mean, I have no problem with it. The game's not bad, but I don't know, man. It's like people they want to have it all right then, and they don't want to put the skills or the time in for it. So
don't get me wrong, if you're the sort of person who uses those kind of like quote unquote shortcuts, and you acknowledge the fact that you use those shortcuts,
Yeah,
I can have a significant more deal of respect for you. For
yeah,
example, if you're going against Bruce Lee and you have a fucking machine gun
yeah,
and you're not calling yourself a better fucking fighter because you have a machine gun, you're
yeah,
just defending yourself. I can understand that. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
But people who put themselves in the same category, basically people who stand on the shoulders of giants and consider themselves tall, you
yeah.
know? Like,
I mean, like,
at the
I
end
play.
of the day,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I play a lot of Super Nintendo. Um, on the Super Nintendo Mini, you've got save states. That's fine. You know, if I was to stream a Super Nintendo game, I'm gonna play until it saves the game itself, or I find a save spot depending on where I'm at. So, like Castlevania 4, you get to a certain spot. If you die, you get the password that will start you back over from 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, wherever you die. You can use the password. I'm fine with passwords. That's in the game. That's why it's there. But when you use the save state system, you can pause in the middle of the level. If you can't play anymore, you pause it, you come back home a few hours later, load it right back up. You're right back in the middle of the level where you are. You can
And that's as long as you're not going to edit out the fact that you use that save state.
yeah, and um, you can rewind. If you fall in a hole, you can rewind back before you fall in a hole, and it's like, yeah, I mean that stuff's fine, but acknowledge that you didn't beat the game the way it was intended.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I played Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 recently, and I've never played like I was born a little too late to play classic Mega Man when it first came out, but I picked up Mega Man 2, and one of the things that you can do in that version of Mega Man 2 is you can rewind yourself. So I did actually beat Mega Man 2, but I don't tell people that I beat it because I didn't beat it as intended because I
Yeah.
rewound a bunch of times.
Well,
I
I
could
mean,
never beat the game as intended,
it,
you
it doesn't
know?
it doesn't matter that you rewinded, but don't leave it out
Don't
of the
bring it out.
context.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I
like
beat Mega
come
Man
on.
2. I beat Mega Man 2, but I used the rewind feature. And it's like, I mean, you could say that you didn't beat it, but you did beat it. You just had help.
That's
And
like bragging about being a vegan for 10 years, but you eat meat on Sundays.
yeah, it's
Like,
it's yeah, if you tell me you're vegetarian and then I see you out on Sunday and you're eating a Big Mac, I'm gonna be like, yo man, what's up? It's like,
well, to their defense, there's probably no real meat in a Big Mac anyway.
yeah, it's that pink stuff. I don't know, man. It's just the gaming community is just it's so weird, and it probably sounds like we're picking and choosing, stuff like that, but it's like it's not picking and choosing when it's.
We're just picking the blemishes on the face. You know what I
I
mean? The
mean,
ones that stick out most.
it's just stuff in my head, stuff in your head, stuff I talk to you about off stream, stuff I talk about on stream. It's like I don't keep secrets when I'm on stream. If you ask me what I don't like, I'll tell you exactly what I don't like. I've done it before. I'll do it again. Not going to be the first time. So
Mhm.
I mean and nobody like talks about it, or maybe I just don't visit enough streams, or people do talk about it, and I don't believe what they're saying when they say it, and it's like,
Well, no, I think it's things that people all know, but it just needs to be said directly. It needs
yeah,
to be directly addressed. I think everybody, for the most part, nobody's directly oblivious to the fact that to the things that we're speaking about here. But at the same time, it's never just been directly put into into context.
yeah. I mean,
Context is a real important thing in our generation right now.
yeah, and I mean, those people like you can feel them when they talk. You can watch them, like you were talking about. like micro expressions earlier when we were talking. Um, and it's like I don't know what it is. I don't know what causes it. You can hear these people say things, and you're like, I don't know if you believe that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if you believe in what you're saying. You can feel like the half-heartedness that they put into certain sentences, and it's like it makes it hard to watch their stream or give them a follow. And it's like, I mean, that happens all the time. Like some of these bigger streamers that are like close to partner, or it's sometimes you hear them say stuff and it's like, I don't even think you believe in that. You're just saying it because you think it sounds good. And
Yeah.
it's like you're
Say with a camera in their face.
yeah, it's like you're riding the line between Twitch streamer and news reporter. And it I don't know, man, it's a really weird feeling, and I wish more people were honest about the things that they said when they said them. And I think it would help a lot, and it would weed out a lot of stuff, because
Well,
there's a lot of times where I want to follow somebody and they say something, and it's just it's ignorant, and I watch their face and their tone, and it's like, nah, you don't believe that. I can tell you don't believe that. You know how I know? Because I just read the headline that you just said off of this phone right now. You don't feel that way. And it's like, I mean, but that's how it is. Most people don't get past the headline. So
well, what I was going to say is that what happens a lot of times, and I do think that there is a fair share of guilt and blame that should be paced out. We live in a society today where there are so many different forms of shaming. You have fat shaming, you have slut
yeah,
shaming, you have all these different things out there. But at the end of the day, I do believe in doloing out a certain degree of shame if it's necessary.
yeah. I
At
mean,
the same
yeah,
time, I feel like you have a lot of people who aren't fully aware of what it is that they are really kind of like perpetrating as they're doing it. For example, I told you this story off camera, but I'll tell you it again. For years I had an odor problem, and a lot of people would be around me and they'd experience it and they would talk about it behind my back and they never told me. And then eventually somebody came to me years later, like almost an entire decade later, and said, "Yo, dude, you fucking stink." And I never knew to stop and address the fact that I fucking stink. So every day I'm getting up, I shower, I brush my teeth, I shampoo my hair, but in my mind, I'm thinking I'm clean, and nobody around me thinks that. And it's the same with a lot of these streamers where they're doing things that nobody ever calls them out on, because at the same time it's like, people don't ever fucking say anything.
yeah.
So you have this huge kind of like array of issues that never goes addressed, and nobody gets a chance to actually grow as a person because we're all afraid to hurt each other's feelings.
That
You know?
and that's where the problem lies, is they may not think that they're doing anything wrong.
Exactly. I don't stink. Me? No way. I shower
Yeah.
every
So you bring it
morning.
up, and then then if they don't realize that something's wrong, like, you fucked them up. And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean something's wrong? What do you mean this is what I'm doing? Or
You see this? I can show you the deodorant I put on earlier this morning. Like, it's literally right here. I tried. I fucking tried. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you never fucking know what it is that you have. Like everybody's different. And you
yeah,
have to be able to address that in yourself. At the end of the day, the eyeball can't see itself. So
Yeah.
you don't know what it is that you have to address and work on personally, because nobody says anything.
Yeah,
But
and
continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
it's it's bad on both people. It's bad on whoever's streaming. It's bad on whoever wants to say something but doesn't because they don't know. People react in different ways. Like,
Exactly.
I could come to you and be like, "Hey, Majin, I don't know if you should do that next time on stream." And you're gonna be like, "Oh, I would explain myself." Or you'd be like, "Wow, what's wrong with it?" Or whatever. I would explain myself, but me and you talking is not like, whoever out here talking. Some people might be like, "What the fuck do you mean I shouldn't do that on stream? What are you talking about? I didn't do anything wrong. Once you mind your fucking business." And that is where it gets hard to fucking deal with.
Well, that
Because,
also comes back to what we were saying before about the maturity factor. And you have a lot of people who, one, can't take criticism, and you have a lot of people who, two, can't give criticism.
yeah,
For example, you have to be able to criticize people on things that they either A, can control, or B, things that you feel like they may not be aware of. For
yeah,
example, don't be calling somebody fat and making fun of them if they're at the fucking gym or at the track. You see somebody literally there trying to fucking address the fact that they're out of shape.
yeah,
Don't be making fun of this motherfucker because he's fat and he's over here working out. And then at the same time, you can't make fun of things like if somebody were to hop into my stream and be like, "Yo, you're ugly and you're missing a tooth." Like at the end of the day, like I'm still gonna stream. Like that's not gonna bother me because I
yeah,
can't fix that. Like there's nothing. Like give me constructive criticism. Give me something that I can actually change.
yeah.
Like
And that's the thing too. Not to go on to fat shaming, because I definitely don't want to get in that kind of topic.
yeah,
It's
word. I'm sorry about
I
that.
mean, it's. I mean, me and you've talked about it. Exercise is great. Eating right is great. If you want to lose weight, you need to exercise and you need to eat better. That's what you have to do. And if even if you're exercising, if you're still eating like shit, you're not doing anything. You're if you run 2 miles and then you go and get a Big Mac and a large fry from McDonald's and a large Coke, and it's like that 2 miles, you just put that right back on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't make fun of anybody in particular about what they're doing, but there there's a level of self awareness sometimes that I don't think people see, and
Well, that kind of leads back into what I was saying. I think a certain degree of shaming is a bit necessary,
yeah, I
but I
mean,
definitely agree of what you're saying though. Like you definitely don't want to do it just for the sake of like attacking someone.
yeah, I mean, call me out on my bullshit, go for it. That doesn't bother me. But, if I woke up one morning and just had a random message from you that said, "Hey, your camera sucks. Hey, your microphone sucks. You should quit streaming," I'd be like, "Shit, where the fuck did that come from, Majin?" Like, if,
Well, like even more so, like if I stream and I have like a pair of open toe sandals on, and somebody says to me, "Yo, dude, your feet are mad fucking crusty." At the end of
yeah,
the day, that's just gonna hurt my feelings. But at
yeah,
the same time, he's only saying what everybody else is thinking, so it's
yeah,
shaming me. But at the same time, it does help me, even though
yeah,
it can come as hurtful.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I mean,
So that's important too.
it's a weird thing, and I mean, and that's not even in streaming. That's in real life shit. I mean,
Yeah. Come to talk about that freaking game that's coming out. What's it called? The Little Devil Inside or something like that? You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I brought that up because my brother's mixed. You're black, I think.
I'm mixed too. I'm black and Puerto Rican.
Well,
He said, I think.
either way, I was just making a joke. I know that you're black, but you didn't know about the tribes the tribe enemies in the Little Devil Inside. You'd never even heard of the game, and then I pointed it out to you, and um, you said I could see how some people would be upset. So,
That was literally a benefit of the doubt thing I was saying, by the way.
well, I mean, it's, like I told you, whenever that happened and I found out about it, and I was just like, really? That? Like, that? That's possibly a real thing that my African culture is not the best. I'm not particularly up to date. Um, I'm fully
Most
aware that,
Americans,
huh?
most Americans don't really.
I'm fully aware that there are African tribes. Um, but when I saw those enemies, like I saw them before that article and all that stuff even got started. I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like I actually kind of wanted to play the game, and I didn't think anything about it. That article came out, and I was like, really? This? I was like, okay, maybe if all this stuff wasn't happening in the world, then nobody would have said anything. And I asked somebody else in my stream, Southern Queen. She's black. She lives Florida. I don't know where in Florida. Somewhere in Florida. It's not
We don't
important.
want
Huh?
to.
It doesn't matter. It's Florida. Nobody cares about Florida.
Exactly.
I asked her about it, and she had not heard anything about it. The article had been out for like 2 or 3 weeks, and she was like, "If you hadn't have said anything, I never would have even put two and two together of that being a racist implication."
Well, like, okay, so here's something that I really kind of want to bring up, right? So my fiance, she was just sitting right there. She's actually a psychic, and the way that she basically her work basically brings her to kind of like, I guess she needs to have a bit of an online presence as well, just to get her name out there and that sort of thing.
Yep.
And she basically last year she had this issue where she got on Twitter, and it was like such it was so forced the way this all went down. But basically she made this post, and it was basically like all the sort of social media posts that you see where it's like, oh, guess your spirit animal or something like that, like what color shirt are you wearing or some shit like that, right? So somebody got really really offended and said, you can't appropriate my culture, like you're appropriating my culture by talking about spirit animals. And the person happened to be a native Canadian, like I guess like their bloodline reached back to the tribal bloodlines of
Like,
Canada before it was colonized.
who are, I'm trying to think. Anyway, continue. I'll
I
think
don't
of
want to come off as ignorant, so I'm not even going to assume that I know which tribe it was or which
like
anything
the
like
Inuit.
that.
Did
Huh?
you say Native Canadian?
Native Canadian, so
Like
not
are
specific.
you talking like Inuits?
It basically that same. You have the right idea, but I'm not even going to begin
I
to
mean,
like
I
pretend
could be
that I
wrong
know
too.
where it is.
I could be
You have
completely wrong.
the right idea, basically. So basically, this person basically called out like this whole fucking following, like a good like 15 people who were all native Canadian, to basically start shaming my fiance and telling her, listen, you can't post this stuff. You're appropriating my culture. You're attacking me, and I'm offended. And I'm not here to attack people who are offended and call them sensitive or anything like that. But the fact of the matter is that this entire thing felt extremely forced. It
Yeah,
felt like this person wanted to come out of their way to basically kind of like defame and attack my fiance's business, who, let's call it what it was. It was a business. It's her business. It's her business channel that her business profile on Twitter. So
yeah,
basically she has this entire thing where she's really kind of like just trying to keep her internet presence alive. And maybe she was irresponsible or maybe she wasn't. I honestly don't even know enough about what happened to really even tell you the story. But all I know is that what really basically ended up happening was that they were able to come to an understanding once my fiance kind of told this person more about herself. because she didn't have her picture there. So she didn't
Yeah.
understand. They called her colonizer. They called her all sorts of like rude and mean things. And it was like so completely unnecessary. And
Yeah.
the entire thing just kind of stemmed back to a misunderstanding. But you're attacking somebody's livelihood and their business based off of the fact that they said something that didn't sit right with you. You know what I mean? And I'm not really even saying that that feeds back into what the people who were accusing the game of, because I just found out about that recently. But it bothers me that you have basically entire kind of like markets and entire kind of like, industries being changed by people who aren't even particularly doing proper research and people who aren't even particularly paying attention. Like, you can sit here and say that this is offensive because it rubs you the wrong way, but you don't even have the fucking receipts to even know what it is that you're talking about.
Yeah. I
You know?
mean, people. I mean, that goes to the thing of um, people are offended because that's what other people are offended by. So they think that they need to be offended by it. And
Bandwagon mentality.
it's oh well, they don't like this, well I'm not gonna like it either. And like that's not a good way to be. Man, it's
I mean, if we're all going to group together, don't get me wrong, power in numbers, and I feel like that's definitely important, especially in a democratic society. But know what the fuck it is that you're signing up for,
yeah,
because this person basically snapped their fingers and had a bunch of people fucking pop up to fucking, like it was like, you ever see Coming to America? And like he had all of those fucking servants, like it was
yeah,
basically that same fucking thing. Like that
yeah,
shit made no fucking sense to me, man.
yeah,
And if you know my fiance, if you know Shimajin, she's the sort of person who literally tiptoes around those kind of guidelines because she's very sensitive about the way that she comes off to people. You
yeah.
know,
I mean,
she,
nobody wants
she's
to hurt anyone's feelings.
respectable. Yeah.
And I mean, okay, you said you've lived down here for almost 3 years. In your day to day life in North Carolina,
Yep.
I'm from Tennessee. I'm not far from you at all. I've lived here all my life. In the 3 years that you've lived down there, the people that you see like you interact with when you go out, you go to the store or whatever. In those 3 years, how many times have you been publicly attacked for out of race?
Not once.
Exactly.
Not
Okay.
once. And I am I'm pretty liberal with my words. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly feel like I'm being honestly a little um cash I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I feel like I'm downplaying the way that I honestly kind of am usually.
Yeah. Um. I mean, that game, it's whatever. Like right now, the way that things are in the world, it's not gonna stop. I mean, like me and you talked about the guy who played Cleveland on Family Guy. He quit. The girl from Big Mouth. I don't know the characters' names because I don't watch that show. There's like a black teenage girl on there. The girl that played her quit because she was either quit or pushed out. I'm not real sure. She wasn't a black girl, so everybody's going to this. If you aren't of color, you shouldn't play a colored character. I don't agree with that,
I
especially
think
in
it's
voice acting.
I think it's more of an overarching kind of like, element in general. We spoke about this already, but I guess the best way to put it without really kind of like, calling out anything or anyone is that this recent election really kind of flared, I guess racial tempers on every side. And I think the best way to kind of really address it is, if you pay attention now, today in 2020, you can't have people who even kind of look tribal. So I don't know if you guys know what it is that we're talking about, but there is a enemy in this game that's getting ready to come out that has a kind of tribal looking mask with a blowpipe that looks like, I guess, a joint or something like that, and dreadlocks, and that's considered offensive. But a few years back, Resident Evil 5 came out, where literally you're Chris Redfield, a fucking white guy who goes to Africa and fucking mows down crowds of fucking African dudes. And they speak African, and they wear tribal masks and loincloths and shit like that, and nobody said shit.
I've
You
not
know what I
I've
mean?
not
Like,
played
that's
that game, but I know about it, and that's a good analogy. That's a good way to look at it.
like, come the fuck on! You know? Like,
It's,
we said shit!
I mean, it's, everything that's going on. George Floyd, rest in peace. That guy, I can't remember his name, the one from it in Atlanta about the Wendy's. He was drunk in the drive-thru. He fell asleep. And, there was a guy up in New York that was selling loose cigarettes. And it's like,
Eric Garner
everybody's,
happened right across the street from where I worked at the time.
damn.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's just, popping off. And it's like, I mean, if,
And you know what? You're right. It's not just the election. I think I might have spoke a little out of turn there. It's just the environment of today in general.
yeah, it's the current events of today. I mean, election included. And it's like people, I mean, had we not been in a pandemic, not to speak ill of it, but I don't think the rioting and the looting would be the way that it is after the death of George Floyd. I can see the protests, that's perfectly fine, but I don't think that the rioting and the looting would have taken place. You know what I mean?
Whether or not it's necessary, that's not what's being discussed here.
Yeah.
But whether or not it would have happened in a situation outside of a pot that has been stirred quite as much as it has been in America in 2020, I think I agree with you. I fully agree with you that had that happened outside of a less volatile social environment, yes, we would not have seen what we're seeing today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see that happen to anybody. Quarantine, lockdown, whatever. But
well, and that's really kind of like an important point too, because a lot of dudes I know, and I guess I'll kind of overextend myself a little bit here. I know a lot of white guys, a lot of white people who are really kind of like fighting and championing that cause more so than anybody else out here, because they're just looking at the injustices that are happening and they're just saying, yo, dude, this is fucked up. Like, at the end of the day, the people who still to this day, months later, are posting to their status every single day that the murderers of certain things have not been arrested yet. This still hasn't been addressed yet. They don't want to let these issues die. These are white people who will not drop it, and they're not even personally affected by it. They're just standing right in the middle of this motherfucker, and they're looking around, and they're talking about what they see, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if this pandemic thing wasn't going on, we all weren't locked in our houses for months, and then you just see that on the news, it's like, you're already upset because you can't go anywhere. No stores are open. You're mad. You're angry. You're
gotta wear a mask everywhere.
Yeah, you're arguing with your wife and girlfriend, and it's like or husband or boyfriend, and it's like you see that tape, and it's just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. And it's like Dave Chappelle said, y'all don't need to hear from me. The streets are speaking for themselves. I mean, maybe I could be completely wrong. Maybe it would be the same way even if we weren't under the quarantine. It was horrible.
It depends on the context. It depends on the context. You have a lot of people out there who are just literally standing on the edge of the cliff and waiting to be pushed.
Yeah,
and then you have
some people are like that.
There, like, filled in. Like you have some people who really. It's like the different states of matter. Some people are solid. No matter what the situation is, they're always going to be the same. Some people are liquids, where they take on the shape of whatever space they're occupying. And some people are gaseous, where they're literally all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter about the situation.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say, but I would like to think that people. Like I said, the protesting stuff is great. The awareness is great. I'm all for that. I mean, I support the police but not the ones like that. The ones that do their job, do what they're supposed to do, show people the respect, and respect me. Like, just because you're a cop doesn't mean you can't respect me. Like, I fully support that, but it's like, there needs to be better training and better protocol to handle certain situations, and they just don't have it. They just didn't
As a
have.
black as a black man in America, I'll give you two isolated incidents that happened to me. So first we'll talk about the good one, right? So I have a friend who lives in an abandoned house. He's technically a squatter. I don't know if he still lives there, honestly, because we don't speak anymore based off of what happened here. But at the time, he was living in an abandoned house. And I went to go and see him, and I didn't even know that this was the case at the time, right? So basically, what ended up happening was that when somebody saw me go inside the house, they called the police. And basically, the way that it happened, I swear to God, it was like it was like the Joker robbing a bank. Like, I just looked outside and I saw like 9 to 10 cop cars outside, just like out in the fucking street. And
Shit.
it happened so fast. You know what I mean? And they were all just out there, and the cops are knocking on the door. They're telling us to come outside. So obviously, none of us are really about that life. So we come outside. They put us all in handcuffs, and I didn't even know I was breaking the law at the time. And I'm
Yeah.
talking to the cop, and he's asking me what happened. And I'm not going to throw my friend under the bus, but I literally told him, like, yo, listen, like, this is my first time being here. I had literally no idea what's going on. And the cop basically runs my numbers, and he saw that I had a parking ticket that I didn't pay off at the time. So I have an open warrant for me, and it's Christmas Eve. And the cop says to me, he says, listen, I'm going to let you off. I'm not going to put you in because I know that you're going to spend the holidays in the fucking precinct if I put you through. I'm going to let you go. Literally everybody else there, all black people, all got tickets that same fucking night. They all got tickets, or summonses or whatever at the time. I didn't get anything. The cop was real cool about it, right?
Yeah.
Let me go. Merry fucking Christmas from the NYPD.
Yeah.
That was really fucking cool, right? In the same vein, one day I'm waiting on I'm waiting on the train, right? I'm standing on the platform and I'm chilling. I'm not bothering anybody, right? I look over, I'm standing on the very edge of the platform. The stairs are over there, right? They're on the other edge, right? So I see coming down the stairs about 6 police officers, and they're charging like linebackers. And they all come, and it literally happened in about half a minute. I'm there, I'm in a fucking, like I'm in handcuffs, and I'm basically on my knees, and they're forcing me to they detained me, right?
Shit.
And they didn't even tell me what fucking happened. They
Damn.
didn't even tell me why I'm being detained. They asked me for my ID, and they just held me there. Later on, I found out that there was somebody on the platform further up who was identifying me, and basically that person said that I wasn't the person that they were looking for, right? So the cops take the handcuffs off me, didn't tell me anything, didn't tell me why, didn't tell me what happened, right? So basically I just got put in handcuffs and basically forced into a really, really kind of like shitty situation based off of the
Yeah.
fact that these police officers thought I was somebody who fit a certain bill, right?
Yeah.
Literally didn't do anything. I was minding my own fucking business. And that shit was probably the most negative experience. Like, don't get me wrong, I keep to myself. So I'm sure if you speak to other people, they've had much worse situations.
Yeah.
That was the most negative situation that I have, just based off of the fact that I know now in my mind, I know that if I am physically doing something wrong, the cops leave you alone. The
Yeah.
only time the cops really bother you is when you're minding your own fucking business.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever actually, and there's other situations that I could call out, but the only time I've ever actually been bothered by the cops is when I was minding my own business, doing nothing fucking wrong. I spent nights in the precinct, but at the same time, it's like, it never seems fitting, So I really do, they talk about good eggs and bad eggs and all that good shit. I really do stand firmly by that you have a lot of police officers who legitimately do their job
Yeah.
and who legitimately don't want to just put you away and ruin your life and fuck with you just based off of the fact that they have the ability to. And then you
Yeah.
have other police officers who they're really, really, they probably should have never been given a badge and a gun.
Yeah,
You know?
that's where I'm getting to with the. They don't need defunded. They need retraining, and they don't train enough. That's all there is to it. You go through the class, and then you get a badge and a gun, and then you have to take a gun class every now and then just to recertify yourself. That's it.
I think that if you were to put on that uniform and that badge and you were to deal with what it is that a lot of police officers deal with, and I'm not saying you particularly, but I think anybody, when you get put in that situation and you feel the pressure and you feel kind of like the situation, kind of like, the gravity of what it is that you're dealing with, it
Yeah.
affects you psychologically. So
Yeah.
I don't want to specifically say that particularly. I don't think that there needs to be retraining. I think that there should be. I'm of the idea that police officers maybe should receive more pay, but it might need to be kind of like a 4-year college degree type of thing, or it might
Yeah.
need to be the sort of thing where you need real certification. And I'm just not really kind of like what you were saying before. I agree that maybe the methods that one needs to take in order to be a police officer, they might need to be maybe a little more rigorous. But I definitely do fully observe the fact that police officers deal with a lot, and
Yeah.
that
I
it's
mean
not
that's true.
it's not
I don't want that job.
yeah.
I don't want that job.
We're sitting here and we're bitching about dealing with trolls on the internet. Police officers literally have to deal with people on their worst day every
Yeah.
single time.
They're
Every single day, you're dealing with somebody who's gonna be openly belligerent.
their worst troll is getting shot.
Exactly.
So
Like, you know, and
I
and
mean,
and and, and I can't just brush past that. That's very
yeah.
important to me.
I mean, I don't want that job. I mean, I really don't. But I mean, there are good cops. I know some. I mean, I don't know them personally, but cops drive up and down my street. Like I said, drug house on the other side of me. If you've been in my stream, you know what I'm talking about. Like they wave, I wave. That's it. Or sometimes they walk down my street looking for somebody, and I just happen to be out there. Hey, have you seen a guy, blah, 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 this tall, blah, blah, blah? I have no idea, man. I just walked out here. Sorry, I can't help you. All right, appreciate it. And then they just go on. Like, I don't know. I mean,
Another
granted, I could be doing something wrong, and the same guy that was like, all right, thanks, man, appreciate it, and he walks off. Next time I see him, I might be caught up in something, and he might fucking handcuff me, throw me to the ground, beat shit out of me. I don't know.
and I think that could happen. I think that could happen to anybody
Yeah,
from anybody.
that could easily happen. I don't know that guy.
Again,
Maybe he wasn't aggressive because it's broad daylight.
I'll try to make this one quick. I don't want to, because again, this is kind of like taken away from the thing, but this is kind of important, right? So
You
this
want to
kind
end?
of shows
You want to end on this one? We've been going for 2 hours.
shit. Okay, yeah, we can
All
end on
right.
this one.
Well, hey. First of all, well, no, go ahead and tell your story. Then I'll say what I was going to say. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, we can do the outro after.
Yeah.
So basically, and I'll try to be quick about it. So
You're good. Take
I'm
your
in
time.
with my cousin one night, and my cousin, obviously, he's black like me. He's we both came from the same environment. So he talks like me. He acts like me, right? Well, he doesn't particularly act like me. This is basically the motto, the moral of the story. So we're in the
I hope he doesn't.
projects.
I hope he doesn't act like you.
Hopefully not, right? So anyway, we're in the projects, and I didn't know this at the time. Apparently, to be in the projects after a certain
Wait. Should we explain what the projects are? I've got them too.
I think the projects are pretty, it's public housing. It's public housing and it's predominantly black.
Project
I don't
projects
yeah.
for all you people who don't know what projects is. Projects is the hood.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right? And that's the best way to put it.
yeah. I mean, they're around me too. It's not like it used to be. It's calmed down, but I mean, it still exists. There's areas of town, not because of race. It's just bad, rough neighborhood that I don't want to walk through. And
So go ahead, my bad.
and I mean, that's nothing against anybody. I just I mean, I try to stay away from people because I don't want problems with people, and I don't try to start problems with people. It's an area. If you go through there, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you look like, you will have problems going through there. So I just avoid it. It's a mixed community. Don't get me wrong, but it's just problems I don't want and don't need. I don't, you know what I'm saying. If you can avoid
Yeah.
it, why wouldn't you avoid it?
Projects, no matter what part of the country you're in,
Yeah,
projects are all the same thing.
yeah. It sucks because if I would hope that's where some money needs to go is to fix these lower income communities.
Yeah,
And
when people talk about defunding the police, I don't think it's just about taking money out of the pockets of police officers. I think it's about when you talk about like what you said about money needs to go in certain areas, and they say, "Oh, well, there is no money." Well, there is, you know.
there's money. Where did
And that,
where did
yeah,
where did the money for these rinky-dink $1,200 stimulus checks come from? The Federal Reserve printed
exactly.
it out. They printed it out. They
And
printed out $1 billion or however much they sent out. I mean, there's money.
well, there are repercussions to that too,
Yeah.
but
I
at the
mean,
end of the day, it wasn't just about the $1,200 that went to us. There were other things that happened in that stimulus package too. And you know what?
yeah,
I think
it's
that it's definitely something that we could eventually address in another thing because even
yeah,
like what you were saying about the
yeah,
projects, I actually have a lot of opinions on that I would even want to kind of like say too to provide a little more context.
yeah. We can do a completely political, not really political, kind of political controversial podcast. I don't know. I'll ask people in chat, see what they say, see how they feel. You know?
Directly, I mean, exactly. And if you're listening to this and you're still here, God bless your soul. Let us
Yeah,
know.
thank God.
Let us know if that's something that you want to see
Yeah,
because we definitely have no problems, and there's definitely going to be other speakers on this podcast also. So it
yeah.
won't
I'm
just
I'm
be.
not I'm not keeping it limited to one person, and you know, I'm not saying that you're not going to come back because you already know that you are. But
Of course.
just because this is the
We
just because
coming
this
back
is
regardless of how people feel.
yeah just because this is the first episode doesn't mean that if it's episode 5 or 6, it could very well be you. I mean, it's a good possibility.
I don't mind. You can
So I
definitely call
mean, like I don't want it
me.
limited to one person, and I don't want you know someone that I have on think that they're not gonna come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
You don't want to. You don't want to put yourself in a box.
yeah, I mean, like I enjoy talking to you, so I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy talking to whoever else I have on here. That's why they're gonna be on here is because I enjoy talking to them. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear their opinion versus whoever else's opinion. Whether it be my opinion, that's fine. We can talk about it. So
So anyway, the story and the only
yeah,
reason why I want to tell the story is because it's the most divisive kind of like it really kind of shows what I meant about kind of like the police and a certain type of thing. Because I feel like a lot of people really do kind of have a very polarizing opinion about how things go down. So I
yeah,
just want to like again and let me explain this because I guess a lot of people don't really see it. I'm from New York. Like I lived in Staten Island for a long portion of my life, but I've also lived in upstate New York. I lived in Brooklyn for a little bit of period of time. I lived in Queens. I've spent a lot of time in Chinatown. Like I've been around, and I don't want to give people the impression that I come from one gated community or one closed kind of like point of view, right? But this situation right here with the police, it really kind of needs to be, kind of like highlighted and shown. And basically, what ended up happening was I'm in the projects and I'm with my cousin. And my cousin, I probably shouldn't even said my cousin, but whatever. You didn't hear that. My friend, whatever. Anyway, so we're out there and I'm with him. And basically, what ends up happening is that we're in the projects after a certain time, and apparently there's a curfew in the projects, which I didn't know at the time. You can't be there after I think it was like 7 o'clock. The cop said, I don't know what he said, but anyway, we're in the hallway and we're talking to an acquaintance, a common acquaintance of all of us. And basically, the cops pull up. So the dude who lived in the projects obviously understood. As soon as the cops fucking pulled up, he closed the door. He didn't even say goodbye or nothing like that. He just closed the
yeah,
fucking door, right? So the cops come up to us and they basically start talking to us. And they're talking to us in a very, very non-aggressive manner. It's not like, it's not like they're attacking us, right? So they basically directly come, and they say, hey, listen, what are you guys doing here? And I say, I'm talking to somebody I know. And the cop says, my cousin's staying silent at the time. The cop says, well, it's after 7 o'clock. You can't be here. This is technically trespassing, right? So I say, I'm sorry, I didn't know this at the time. Now, give you a little bit of context. At the time, I had been spending a lot of time in the projects. I was in like my mid 20s, and everybody knows the general, kind of like environment of the project. So I just wanted a bit of like, I wanted a bit of protection. So I have this pocket knife in my back pocket, right? And the general rule in New York, I don't know where it is everywhere else, is that if you have a pocket knife that's longer than your 4 fingers, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait. Did you actually know the time of when you couldn't be there? Or when you were supposed to leave? Oh, okay. That's why I was laughing, because you said you were in the project, and I was like, wait a minute. Spending a lot of time there, but he didn't know the time? Was he playing dumb, or did he just not know? I was confused on that. That's why I laughed. That's why I laughed.
Like the cops, they're not even really on their job like that. Like it had been like honestly like a solid like 5 months where I'm hanging out with people. Like I didn't live in the projects. I had a lot of friends out there. Like I'm basically everybody knows me.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I thought you were doing the playing dumb thing. Oh yeah, I didn't know the time. My bad.
Well, that's what a lot of people do, though. You're 100% correct. But anyway, at the time, I have this knife in my back pocket, and it is longer than my 4 fingers, right? But, to give you, again, a little bit more context, I was literally just keeping it as like a full last resort. It was a novelty, Incredible Hulk, colorful ass purple fucking pocket knife. The blade was green. It wasn't like nobody. I'm not gonna pull this knife on anybody, and they're gonna be like scared, like, oh shit, he's got an Incredible Hulk pocket knife. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just keeping it on me just in case. You know what I mean? Just in case some shit happens, right? But it's important to know this because basically the cop says to me, "Hey, listen, you're not supposed to be here." We had that little exchange, but my cousin loses his shit, right? So they say you guys have IDs on you, right? So I'm about to respond, and my cousin loses his shit. He's like, nah, we ain't got no IDs. Y'all ain't supposed to be, y'all can't be fucking with us or nothing like that. He loses his shit. He goes off his handle. He starts acting like all sorts of N-word, right? So, nah, he really did. Like, it was honestly, not only was it really kind of like a scary moment, but it was also a very embarrassing moment because this is somebody I'm directly related to, right? So he starts going off the handle, right? Nah, right? So the cops literally, they started to ask us for ID. They put him in handcuffs right off of the bat. But I'm not saying nothing at the time. If they would have swung on him, that would have been a different story because I'm not going to watch somebody beat my cousin's ass right in front of me. But they basically throw him in handcuffs.
As one should. You shouldn't watch that happen. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So they put him in handcuffs. And, oh, I forgot to tell you, it's Halloween. It's fucking Halloween. So Halloween is, everybody gets arrested on Halloween. So they put him in handcuffs. They turn to me because I've been silent this whole time. So obviously they know that we're not the same, right? So they turn to me and they say, "You got ID?" And I say, "Yes, officer, but I want to tell you now, I have a pocket knife in my back pocket," right? So the officer sticks his hand in, grabs the pocket knife out. He's looking at it. Like I said, it's a novelty knife. He's looking at it. And he's like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." Like, he's like, I didn't get social with the motherfuckers, but he's like, "Oh, this is cool. Like, where did you get it?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's old. It's an antique. Like, it's cool, And basically, the whole outcome of the story was that my cousin ended up getting arrested. And he didn't have a pocket knife. He wasn't armed. But they not only didn't arrest me, they gave me my knife back.
Damn.
And that, I think, is the most divisive way. And that's, like I said, it wasn't a legal knife. but it's the most divisive way of explaining kind of like the way that some cops can be with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because these were two cops at about, like, I want to say 8 o'clock at night in the projects. You know what I mean? Like not a particularly good area.
On
And
Halloween.
yeah, on Halloween. So they literally, like, they could have locked my ass up, no fucking problem.
Yeah.
And it would have been an open and shut case.
Yeah.
And not only did they let me go, but they gave me my fucking knife back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that really needs to be kind of highlighted.
That's a perfect example of how a situation can change. Because,
exactly.
you know, like you said, they were being polite, asking you what's going on, why you were here, or, you know, telling you the time or whatever, and it's like him flying off is like it's not a good look, especially when they're being polite, you know. You know, if they would have come up harassing you and stuff, like I can kind of understand it, but
Hold on, no. Even if they weren't polite, let's just address kind of the elephant in the situation. Cops are guys with guns and radios who call more guys with guns.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't really mean like fly off, but I mean,
I know what you're saying. I know.
You know, somebody gets a little attitude with you, you get a little attitude back, and it's like,
why would you jump in this person's shit?
I'm not saying, you know, just start screaming and yelling, but you know, if they start to get a little attitude, you know, people push back a little bit, as you should. If you're not doing anything, and it's like, what are you doing here? It's like, I'm not doing anything. Why are you getting hateful? What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Like that. Like I said, that Eric Garner thing that happened right across the street from where I work. Like I literally, I'm not saying I knew him on a personal basis, but I've seen that motherfucker before. Like I seen him. You know what I mean?
He was just selling loose cigarettes, right?
Yep, he was selling loose cigarettes on the stairs right next to a fucking bodega.
The way that could have been handled was, hey, you can't sell loose cigarettes here. You need to go somewhere else.
That's a conversation for a way different. I don't even want to get into that.
We'll get into that another time. It's 2 hours. Holy fuck! You got to start your stream. I got to do some yard work once it cools down. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I apologize to anybody if I flew off the handle a little bit, but I get very passionate about this sort of thing.
Yeah, that story, that's two different ways of how a situation can change, and that situation changed within the same situation.
Exactly.
So I mean, you got to be mindful. You got to, if people aren't having a problem with you, don't have a problem with them. Don't give people a problem when there's not a problem.
Exactly. Look, we're not looking for trouble, but at the same time, we're not turning it down.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not, like, if you talk shit to me or whatever, that's fine. But just don't start shit with me just to start shit with me, because I'm gonna buck up on you and I'm gonna say some shit back. Like,
exactly.
If I was outside and somebody just walked by and was like, "Hey man, fuck you," I'd be like, "Dude, fuck you."
Right?
And it's like, just, I mean, I probably would still say that. But I mean, it's like, that's a problem that doesn't need to be a problem. I don't know you. And it's like, even if the dude did come at me, I mean, I'm not going to back down from the guy. But, I mean, it's just it's a problem where there shouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, that's another one of those lessons where it's better, the earlier that you learn it. But if you're after a certain age and you still haven't figured that out yet, you're in real trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that ego thing and that entitled ego thing, that can get you in trouble. I mean, it got your cousin handcuffed, so.
No, he got arrested that
night.
Well,
he got arrested. I mean,
he got arrested.
It
was about 8 o'clock. I had to wait at the precinct for him until about 4:30 in the morning.
Damn.
And then he ended up trying to fight me because he got arrested and I didn't. But that's a totally different story.
Yeah, I mean, the cops are being nice, and he just, whoever just flies off, and it's like, you know what? I'm putting you in handcuffs. I mean, it's understandable. I can understand it, but I mean, that's when you gotta look at yourself. Look at what's going on around here first, not just fly off about every little thing that whatever you think is right. Sometimes it's not the right thing.
And
So
if you're gonna be about that life, then don't get mad when you get put in handcuffs.
exactly,
You know,
don't.
if you're gonna be about that life, if you're gonna be the full super duper SJW who's gonna fight injustice no matter where it is, then you should at least understand that this is what's going to happen to you on a pretty relatively normal basis.
Yeah, it's like I think it's a Mike Tyson quote, something about everybody's tough until they get punched in the face or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's the Mike Tyson quote.
And it's the same thing. It's like if you start punching people in the face, you better expect to be getting punched back. So that's where people need to be aware of what's going on and how they should handle certain situations. That's a big thing. Just people don't avoid situations that they could avoid. Not that the stuff that's going on in the news right now, some of it, I don't know, that whole cigarette thing. Maybe that could have been avoided, maybe it couldn't. I don't really know the whole context. So
I don't really want to get too into that whole thing because
we can save that.
in all actuality, we're not here to talk about what's fair and unfair or what's correct and
Yeah,
politically correct. I just want to show how certain situations can unfold differently depending on what version of yourself you bring
exactly.
into that.
I mean, it's all about how you act. If you should be able to treat people with respect, and they talk back to you with the same respect. But as we know,
It
that's
doesn't
not.
always go down that way either.
Do what?
It doesn't always go down that way either.
No, it
It's
doesn't.
just,
I mean,
I feel like you put your best foot forward.
it would be nice if that happened, but you don't know if somebody woke up that morning, stubbed their toe really bad. That set the tone for the rest of their day. That person is
Word.
mad at 6:30 in the morning because they stubbed their toe so hard they had to lay down on the floor and cry for 10 minutes. That's ruined their day.
Yo, a
So
stub, no fucking joke.
then, yeah, I mean, I cry almost every time I stub my toe, but that's not the point. Anyway, and then they got to deal with that from the time they get to work at 7 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the evening. They're driving home, get pulled over. They're doing the speed limit. They're not doing anything wrong. That's a recipe for disaster for some people. And it's that's just how it is. That's just how things are
Yeah.
happening right now. Not saying that bad stuff didn't happen before, but even more so now. Everybody's on a heightened sense of. Everybody is currently doing 90 miles an hour, driving down a freeway, weaving in and out of everybody else. That's how everybody feels.
And I can't even begin to say whether, like, I try to be as objective as possible with how I feel on situations. I just like to recount what it is that I saw. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of yellow journalism, but yellow journalism, I took journalism in college. It was my major. And basically yellow journalism is when you give a an opinion on what it is that you're appointing versus regular journalism, which is basically recounting what it is that you went out there and you saw and allowing people to form their own opinion.
Yeah,
And I try not to be a yellow journalist about things. I try to just show people what it is that what they're not seeing.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I mean, it's hard not to yellow journalism. I mean,
Yep.
in my defense of yellow journalism, I watch and read stuff all the time. So some of the things I say, I take from other sources, whether it be the news or a political podcast or things like that. And it's just like I try to take bits and pieces and just kind of rework it around to sound better than what they describe it, because they talk about statistics and data and all this other stuff. I can't keep up with all that. Just give me the words in the article talking about, what's going on, what happened, who done what, where did it happen, how could it have been fixed, what do you think we could have done better, and things like that. But
well, it's getting pretty on in time. We should just do the outro and
well, Shimajin on next week. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
She'll definitely take you up on it if that's
Oh,
what you
I
want to do.
guarantee she would. Majin, it was great. I appreciate it. I think we had more fun before the stream.
Yeah.
Or stream.
Next time we'll be ready though. We'll
Yeah.
definitely get better with time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something. We'll figure it
Not
out.
enough.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I really do appreciate you taking the time. I know you got to start your stream. If you guys haven't, go follow Themajin227 on Twitch. I'll put a link in the description down below. Appreciate all you guys for listening. I don't know when this is going to come out. I'm not sure. I got to figure a bunch of stuff out. Depending on how this one comes out, I'll see what you guys think, and we'll go from there. Majin, I appreciate it. Anything you want to say?
No problem.
Anything you
No,
want to
I
say?
think I did everything I wanted to say. I basically hogged the mic the entire time anyway.
No, you're good, man. You didn't. I mean, we got our points in. Hey, Joe Rogan doesn't talk 24/7. I can shut up and listen too.
No problem as long as you're cool with it.
Yeah, I can shut up and listen. I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, I can get to my points at any time. People are probably tired of listening to me anyway. So,
Nobody's sick of you, Chog.
huh? Do what?
Nobody's sick of you.
Nah, I don't know, man. It's feel like it's my time. I might have to walk through the door and pack my bags and move on.
Go through that veil.
Do what?
Go through that veil.
Yeah, be like, all right, guys, it's been fun, but I'm out. All right, man. If you're gonna stream, I'll be in there. I'll probably be in and out. I'll be in the stream, but I won't be as active probably. I'm just gonna look at chat whenever I can. So
We'll see how.
I'll be doing stuff around the house. That's why I said in and out. Your stream will be up, but I'll just be in and out. You know what I mean? So I appreciate your time. Appreciate that you came back to. Appreciate you came back to streaming. I was really glad. I was glad when that happened. I'm hopefully. I don't know, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. I enjoy your streams. I don't care what anybody else says, but I enjoy my time.
And thanks for showing up. I appreciate you guys for sticking around this long.
No problem for me at all. Like I said, I don't care what anybody says. I enjoy your streams, so just keep doing what you're doing, bud. All right. Have a good Wednesday. Tell Shimajin I said hi. And if you guys happen to get out of the house, just be safe out there, man.
Of course.
All right. Catch you later, bud.
Enjoy yours.
See you guys.